Joining me on the news to discuss this is an international analyst, Bolu Michael-Biyi. Hello, Bolu. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Now, Bolu, tell us, what implications do you think a UN General Assembly adoption of the Palestinian resolution would have on the international diplomacy?
Well, I think it's going to create a significant shift, being that countries are now going to be pushed to, choose a side, either for the Israeli or the Palestinians. So it's going to kind of polarize the world in a bit. On the flip side, it has a potential of, inspiring or rejigging the advocacy of international organizations and civil society organizations to pressure Israel to give account of their actions, more like, pressuring them to be accountable for the things they've done. But definitely, this is definitely going to, polarize the world a bit.
All right, now, speaking of pressure, to what extent will the International Court of Justice's advisory opinion influence member states' votes on the draft resolution?
The ICJ, advisory opinion brings a legal twist to the whole thing, and it's plain and simple that the occupation of the Israeli forces in Palestine is illegal. That's what the says in a nutshell. And this automatically creates three categories of voters. The first is the undecided voters, who I think might broker the vote on that day. And the second category are those countries that kind of favor international law, that they'll probably feel that, okay, this is what international law says, plain and simple. It violates international law. So if we vote against this, definitely we are contravening international law. The last category, the third category, are those countries that value their traditional alliances, geographical alliances like the United States of America. Countries like that will will not really count the advisory opinion as much. So I think, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that the category that would determine the outcome of this vote will be the undecided countries.
All right. Now, what about the primary arguments? If you could tell us, briefly, some of these primary arguments for and against the Palestinian resolution, and how you think that, they will shape the General Assembly debate.
Okay, yeah. So Israel has been in occupations around 1967, and those in support will definitely have the argument that this war cannot last forever. It's plain and simple on paper that the law says Israeli occupation is illegal. That's what the supporters will say, and the critics might feel that the resolution is quite unnecessary. They may argue that it kind of undermines decades of peace process if an ordinary advisory opinion will lead to the end of the war. So why do they have to waste their energy and resources and time, in the peace process? They could also argue that such resolution is targeting Israel and thereby not addressing the actions of the Palestinians, because it's not like the Palestinians have not killed Israelis. They've killed Israelis. They've held some hostage, and they've even killed, some were killed a couple of days ago. So they might feel like it's targeting Israel and neglects or doesn't address the action of the Palestinian forces.
Well, Bolu, will this resolution affect Israel's relationship with other UN member states and also its global standing?
Definitely it would. Israel may consider those who vote against them as enemy of progress or enemy of their state, and it's quite, it's expected. I think any country, their position, they feel that way. Typical example is South Africa during the time of the apartheid. Late President Nelson Mandela said clearly that the predisposition and the posture of South Africa, international policy of South Africa, towards countries will be based on their contribution or their actions towards their plight, to end appetite. So Israel may toe the same line as well. The vote would be more than just a vote. It would be, they might say that, their foreign policy will be shaped by the sympathy people show, concerning countries show to their struggle. But they also risk international isolation, being the majority of the countries, if they tilt towards Palestine, then they would be the only ones standing. But countries like USA being on the side and being a powerful country may kind of mitigate the effects of isolation on Israel.
All right. Speaking of powerful countries, that are in support of Israel, what responses can be expected from Israel and its allies if the resolution passes? And what impact do you think that these responses would have, on peace negotiations?
Okay, yeah, if it passes, then definitely Israel, they're going to reject it. They've always done that, they always do that, they're going to reject it, and countries like the United States will definitely back them up. And Israel is likely to opt for direct negotiation against having to toe a deadline. Deadline kind of puts them, it puts a level of pressure on them. So two things can happen. It's either Israel, they kind of cause the entire peace process and negotiation, or the war resolution kind of push them to have, to sit at the table and negotiate. So it can happen that it's push them to negotiate or halt the entire peace process.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Bolu Michael-Biyi, for speaking to us on this.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.